These are no ordinary stones. They stand tall like ancient sentinels. Some even rise higher than 3 men, stacked on each other's shoulders. Their surfaces are carved with symbols, glowing faintly in the dim light. It's as if the stones are breathing, animals, constellations, and strange shapes beyond our understanding. They're arranged in perfect circles, as if guided by a vision we can't comprehend. Placed by human hands, deliberately, with purpose, these stones have witnessed 12,000 years of time. That's older than the invention of the wheel. Before the first seed was ever planted in fertile soil. Older than the earliest cities we know. Much older. Hey everyone, I'm Mileston. Back in what we call ancient times, someone believed this place was sacred. So sacred they'd move mountains for it. And they actually did. They carved and hauled stones as heavy as a herd of elephants, using only their hands, their will, and a faith strong enough to outlast millennia. Around 6,000 years ago, in Mesopotamia and the fertile valleys of Egypt, humanity learned to farm, to write, and to build cities. That's where civilization began. Before that, we were taught that our ancestors were nothing but wanderers, small bands of hunters and gatherers, chasing animals across vast plains, leaving behind only faint traces, stone tools, scattered bones, and the ashes of long-dead fires. But across the world, there are legends of the unknown. In the highlands of Turkey, massive stone circles stand thousands of years older than the pyramids. Their carvings suggest people there understood the secrets of stars and seasons. Near the coasts of India and Japan, silent structures sink beneath the sea. Their streets and temples are now homes for coral and fish. They were swallowed by rising seas. At the end of the last ice age, in the mountains of Bolivia and Peru, massive stones, heavier than modern locomotives, were fitted together with impossible precision. No gaps, no seams. These aren't just odd stories, tucked into the margins of human history. They challenge everything we think we know. They force us to question the timeline we've accepted, to wonder if we're really the first chapter of history, or just the latest in a much older story. A story ripped apart by time, storms, and the shifting earth. Think about it. We may not be the first civilization to gaze at the night sky and wonder about our place in it. Imagine those before us, gathering at sacred sites, worshipping, dreaming of creating art and monuments, hoping they'd outlast their short and fragile lives. Picture cities along ancient coasts, now buried deep beneath the sea, hundreds of feet underwater, and their people, sailing vast oceans with skills we've yet to rediscover. These aren't fantasies. They're possibilities, rooted in the stones beneath our feet, in myths we dismiss as legends, and in clues that rise from the earth. With every new discovery, the past isn't a closed book. It's an open investigation. Each layer we uncover reveals more mystery, more wonder, more strangeness. So let's pause for a moment and reflect on the idea of lost worlds. Atlantis, Lemuria, or the mythical mother continent. For centuries, these legends have captured our imagination. Stories of a golden age, of civilizations that once held knowledge we can't, and art and science almost beyond comprehension, ultimately wiped away by floods, earthquakes, or cosmic disasters that erased them from memory. For centuries, scholars dismissed these stories as mere myths, beautiful tales woven for inspiration or entertainment. But what if hidden inside was a core of truth? What if the ancient texts, whether the Bible, the Epic of Gilgamesh, other legends, or India's sacred scriptures when they describe great floods, they're echoing real events from 15,000 years ago, when ice sheets melted and coastlines were swallowed by the sea? What if the gods and heroes in these tales weren't divine beings at all, but distorted memories of real leaders and innovators from lost societies? The evidence is fascinating. Off the coast of India, divers have discovered stone walls and foundations that match descriptions found in ancient Sanskrit texts, hinting at a thriving city that existed when sea levels were far lower. In the jungles of Indonesia, a hill once thought to be natural has revealed caves and passages, possibly 20,000 years old, suggesting an engineering skill beyond imagination. These discoveries raise questions that linger like shadows. Were these sites part of a global network, a cultural sphere linked by trade, ideas, or shared knowledge? Did they possess technologies, not machines like ours, but ways to shape stone, harness energy, or navigate by the stars? Methods now lost to time. The allure of these mysteries lies not only in their age, but in how they defy expectations. We like to believe history marches forward, each generation building on the last. But what if progress isn't always a straight line? What if civilizations once reached dazzling heights, only to collapse into oblivion? Their knowledge scattered like dust in the wind. 12,000 years ago, a sudden shift in climate brought an ice age and rising seas, perhaps wiping out advanced societies, leaving behind only their most enduring creations, stone monuments and silent ruins, whispering of their existence. Maybe these ancient builders left warnings in their myths and monuments, reminders that even the greatest societies can fall before the fury of nature. And as we stand on these imagined hills, surrounded by stones older than empires, we can feel the weight of their silence. These ruins aren't just artifacts. They're voices from an age we thought was silent, echoing dreams and ambitions like our own. They challenge us to look beyond written history, to imagine ancestors who are not just survivors, but creators, not just wanderers, but architects of wonders. What drove them to carve these stones, to align them with the stars, to build monuments that would endure for millennia? Was it faith, fear, or simply the desire to leave a mark on eternity? Today, we follow in their footsteps, touching the same stones they once touched, under the same endless sky, asking the very same questions. And tonight, we journey to these forgotten places, from Turkey's wind-swept hills to the sunken shores beneath distant seas, from Lebanon's towering stones to the intricate fortress walls of the Andes. We'll explore a history stranger, older and more complex than we ever imagined. From the towering stones of Lebanon to the intricate fortress walls of the Andes, we'll uncover a history stranger than what we've been told, older, deeper, and far more complex. We'll listen to stories etched in stone, whispered through myths, and preserved by the earth itself. Echoes of civilizations long lost, waiting patiently for centuries, waiting for those brave enough to listen, bold enough to question, willing to imagine that the past still hides secrets. We're only just beginning to uncover secrets ready to be shared. Close your eyes, let your mind drift through time. Picture a world that existed long before the history we know. A world alive with thriving communities, brilliant builders and master astronomers. People who map the stars with precision that still amazes us today. Imagine their cities, their temples, their lives, unfolding in landscapes now long vanished. As we begin this journey, let the mysteries of the past wrap around you like a warm blanket, guiding you into sleep, with the promise that every question we ask tonight brings us closer to knowing who we are, where we came from, and what wonders may still lie hidden. beyond the limits of our knowledge. The stones are waiting. Their stories are calling. Let's step together into the mysteries of lost civilizations. Every discovery we make pulls us deeper into the heart of our shared human story. And as the first rays of dawn fade from the hillside, where the whispers of a forgotten world still linger, we arrive at a very special place. A place that challenges everything we thought we knew about the past. Welcome to Göbekli Tepe. Perched on the rugged highlands of southeastern Turkey, it feels as though the earth itself is guarding secrets older than time. Here, on a gentle rise once known to local shepherds as GUNUNG, Hill lay a discovery so profound it rewrote the story of human origins. As we walk across this ancient land, the air carries dust, soil, and the scent of wild grasses. Beneath our feet, the stones bear the weight of 12,000 years. These are not mere ruins. They are proof of a people who defied the limits of their time, building something so extraordinary. It forces us to question history itself. Stepping into this sacred space, the mysteries of Göbekli Tepe begin to unfold. Like a riddle, picture the world 12,000 years ago. As the last ice age slowly loosened its grip on the planet, the land was wilder then. Rolling hills, lush valleys, herds of antelope roaming, rivers running clear. According to history books, people of that time were just simple hunter-gatherers, living in small groups, struggling each day to survive. No cities, no writing, no metal tools, only stone, bone, and sheer human strength. And yet, here at Göbekli Tepe, these so-called nomads did something unthinkable. They quarried massive blocks of limestone, some weighing up to 16 tons, and dragged them across rough terrain. They carved the stones with astonishing precision, then arranged them in circles, like a silent orchestra frozen in time. These weren't crude piles of rock, but carefully designed, intricate works of art with unknown purpose, surfaces alive with images from a world we're only beginning to understand. The pillars of Göbekli Tepe are at the heart of this mystery, each one towering as high as a two-story building, perfectly formed. Some archaeologists believe they represent stylized human figures, silent sentinels guarding forgotten rituals. Their surface is a canvas of ancient art, creatures carved as if they were leaping right out of the stone. Lions with flowing manes, muscles tight, ready to spring at any moment. Boars with gleaming tusks, charging into battle, frozen mid-run. Birds spreading their wings, poised for flight. Snakes coiled in elaborate patterns across the stone, their detail exquisite, so real you can almost feel their cold, smooth slither. These weren't random decorations, but a carefully chosen menagerie, perhaps telling stories of creation, of survival, or of a sacred bond between these people and nature. Some of the animals carved here no longer exist in the region, hinting at a wetter, greener climate long ago. This land was once a paradise of forests and plains, home to creatures long vanished. What makes Göbekli Tepe so mind-blowing is its age. 12,000 years old. 7,000 years before Stonehenge. 8,000 before the Egyptian pyramids. It predates farming, animal domestication, pottery, even writing. Everything we think we know about prehistoric people tells us a feat like this should have been impossible. Hunter-gatherers, we're told, had no time, no resources, no organization for such massive building projects. Yet these stone circles stand, proving our ancestors were far more capable than we believed. Building Göbekli Tepe took hundreds of workers, decades of labor, quarrying stone with flint and bone tools, hauling it without wheels, and raising it with engineering precision. We still can't explain. This wasn't a small effort. It was a massive act of collective will. Driven by a vision we can only imagine. The carvings themselves are a puzzle, each one a clue to the minds of those who made them. These animals weren't just art. They carried meaning. Perhaps totems, spirit guides, or myths binding the community together. Some pillars are marked with abstract symbols, circles, lines, mysterious shapes. Maybe marking celestial events, territories, or spiritual ideas. One carving shows a human figure intertwined with animals, hinting at shamanic rituals, where people took on the traits of powerful beasts, blurring the line between human and wild. Another shows a headless man, a motif echoed in many ancient cultures, perhaps pointing to sacrifice or transformation. These images came from skilled hands, craftsmen who perfected their art over generations. With the simplest of tools, flint knives, stone hammers, wooden levers, their work feels almost miraculous. But the greatest mystery of Göbekli Tepe isn't how it was built, but why it was buried. Around 10,000 years ago, this grand complex was deliberately covered with tons of earth and rubble. This wasn't the slow erosion of time and nature. It was intentional. A decision to hide these temples away. The burial was so complete. The site lay hidden for thousands of years. Until 1994, when German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began digging. Brushing away centuries of dirt, he uncovered these sleeping giants. Why would people go to such lengths to hide their greatest creation? Was it an act of reverence? Sealing off a sacred space to protect it forever? Or a response to crisis, shifting beliefs, climate change, or fears of an impending end of the world? Some researchers see this burial as linked to new weapons from 12,000 years ago. Came a sudden period of cooling, bringing drought and upheaval. Perhaps these temples were built to appease gods angered by the changing world. Then, as new beliefs emerged, or the crisis passed, they were buried. The astronomical alignment of Göbekli Tepe adds yet another layer to its mystery. Some pillars appear aligned with specific stars and constellations, showing a precision in sky tracking that rivals modern astronomy. They may have marked solstices, equinoxes, or rare celestial events, weaving these observations into ritual life. Imagine standing where these ancient astronomers once stood, gazing at the same constellations, Orion hunting across the winter sky, the Pleiades glittering like a jeweled pendant. Though the stars have shifted slightly over millennia, their patterns remain recognizable. A celestial map linking humans to the cosmos, knowledge gained through generations of patient watching, shows us a complexity we're only beginning to grasp. A kind of science, carved into stone and ritual. Göbekli Tepe may not have been just a temple. Some suggest it was a hub in a much larger network, a gathering place where distant communities shared knowledge, traded goods, and forged connections. Nearby sites, like Karahan Tepe and Nevali Kori, now partly submerged by dams, contain similar T-shaped pillars and animal carvings, suggesting a shared culture stretching across southeast Turkey and northern Syria. This was no isolated effort, but part of a civilization thriving at a time we once thought impossible. The implications are staggering. If these sites were interconnected, then this was a society capable of coordinating across vast distances, passing down art and engineering traditions that created monuments lasting thousands of years. But let's step further into the realm of speculation where mysteries deepen. Some fringe theories suggest Göbekli Tepe was not just a local creation, but a beacon of a global civilization. Its symbols echo in distant cultures, from South American megaliths to Egypt's pyramids. Its builders may have been part of a lost network, seafarers or nomads, carrying knowledge across continents. Others go further, suggesting that the precision of its carvings and alignments hints at knowledge beyond stone tools, perhaps harnessing energies or properties we don't yet understand, or even lost technologies that made stone work far easier. Though unproven, these ideas spark the imagination, urging us to wonder if the truth lies just beyond our grasp. The stones of Göbekli Tepe are more than ruins. They are storytellers. Every pillar, every carving, every circle holds a narrative we are only beginning to decipher. They speak of people who looked at raw limestone and saw possibility. Lives driven by a powerful vision to create something eternal. As the sun sets over the Taurus Mountains, casting long shadows across lions and serpents carved in stone, we feel their presence still. They looked at the raw limestone of the earth and saw possibilities. Their lives were driven by a powerful vision to create something eternal. As the sun sets over Mount Duna, casting shadows on lions and serpents carved in stone, we can almost feel their presence. The hands that carved the stones, the eyes that gazed at the stars, the hearts that dreamed of something greater. They weren't the primitive nomads our textbooks describe. They were architects of wonder, artists of eternity, and guardians of secrets we're only just beginning to uncover. As we linger here, surrounded by these ancient sentinels, we realize Göbekli Tepe isn't the end of the journey. It's the gateway to deeper mysteries. What other wonders still lie hidden underground, waiting to challenge everything we thought we knew? What other voices from the past are ready to speak? If only we know where to listen. So, let's carry that question with us as we leave Turkey's rolling hills to explore another mystery, another place where the past defies our understanding. Imagine a lush island in Indonesia, where a jungle-covered hill hides a structure so ancient it could rewrite the story of human achievement. From the stone circles of Göbekli Tepe to the green slopes of Gunung Padang in Indonesia, the earth holds secrets even older, stranger, and deeper. As we leave Göbekli Tepe's ancient stones behind, where carved pillars whisper of a forgotten past, we cross continents to a lush green island in Indonesia. Here, another mystery rises from the earth. A green giant, cloaked in mystery. Welcome to Gunung Padang. At first glance, it looks like nothing special. A forested hillside, its slopes covered in tropical trees, its surface scattered with volcanic rocks, blending into the landscape. But appearances can be deceiving. Beneath this humble hill lies a secret that could reshape our understanding of history. The air here is thick with the scent of frangipani and damp earth, while exotic birds call from the treetops. This is no ordinary hill. Locals call it the Mountain of Light. It may hold the key to one of humanity's oldest and most complex creations. Standing on its terraces, bathed in golden sunset light, we face the mystery of Gunung Padang, a possible pyramid, challenging the timeline of civilization itself. Picture the world 20,000 years ago. Massive ice sheets still grip the planet, locking away oceans of water, pushing coastlines far beyond where they are today. In this distant age, humanity was thought to be little more than nomadic bands surviving with stone tools, their lives dictated by the hunt and the seasons. Yet the evidence beneath Gunung Padang suggests something far greater, a structure of precision and scale beyond what we thought possible for that era. This hill, rising from the landscape, has long been a sacred site. Its terrace slopes were perfect for meditation and spiritual reflection. For centuries, locals walked its paths, never realizing that beneath their feet lay layers of construction, chambers and passages, perhaps dating back to the dawn of human creativity. The story of Gunung Padang's discovery began in 1998, when Indonesian archaeologists first studied the strange stone arrangements on its surface. At first, it looked like just another megalithic site. Rows of basalt columns, stacked into terraces that followed the natural contours of the hill. Tests on organic material found between the stones dated them to around 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. Ancient, yes. Scanning in progress. The dating shows it could be between 3,000 and 4,000 years old, though ancient. In this land filled with temples and monuments, it wasn't entirely unique. The site was classified under Indonesian archaeology, with one particularly intriguing section. And for years, that's where the story stopped. Until some researchers became fascinated by the massive multi-ton stones, so precisely arranged that they began to wonder what secrets might lie hidden beneath this mountain. How are such enormous stones quarried, shaped, and hauled up these steep slopes? And why do the terraces seem to line up with the movements of the stars, as if designed with some celestial purpose in mind? In 2010, a team of geologists and archaeologists took a bold step, using advanced technology to probe beneath the surface. With ground-penetrating radar, seismic surveys, and core drilling, they explored deep inside Gunung Padang. And what they found was astonishing. This was not just a natural hill with a few ancient stones, but a massive man-made structure built over thousands of years in multiple layers. Each layer, a record of different stages of human activity. Radar revealed caves and tunnels deep inside the hill. Empty chambers, suggesting some purpose we still can't explain. Seismic scans showed rows of walls stretching underground, foundations and architectural features far beyond anything previously imagined. And new samples contained worked stone fragments and concrete-like material. All proof that human construction existed at depths archaeologists thought impossible, traces of hands long forgotten. But the most shocking discovery came from the deepest layers. The deeper they drilled, the older the dates became. 10,000 years, then 15,000 years, and controversially, possibly as far back as 20,000 years or more. If true, Gunung Padang would not only be the oldest pyramid on Earth, but also the oldest large-scale structure ever built by humans, predating Göbekli Tepe by 8,000 years, and Egypt's pyramids by 15,000 years. Such a timeline completely rewrites history. 20,000 years ago, humans were thought to live in scattered tribes, focused only on survival. The idea that they could organize labor to build a massive stepped pyramid, spanning acres of land, seems impossible. And yet, the evidence remains. Construction traces at depths mainstream archaeology can't explain. Mysterious chambers, hinting at a purpose we still can't understand. And structures suggesting a society far more advanced than we've ever imagined. In 2023, the research team published a paper claiming Gunung Padang to be the oldest pyramid ever built by humans. It sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. But critics quickly challenged the findings, questioning the dating methods and radar interpretations, casting doubt. The debate grew heated. Eventually, the journal retracted the paper, citing methodological issues and the need for stricter peer review. But retracting the paper didn't erase the evidence. Radar scans still show mysterious chambers deep inside the hill. Core samples still contain worked stone fragments from layers humans should never have touched. And the precise arrangement on the surface still points to astronomical knowledge that defies explanation. Whether Gunung Padang is 4,000 years old or 20,000, what it represents about human achievement forces us to rethink everything we know about our ancestors. What were they truly capable of? Let's pause for a moment and look at the terraces themselves. Each level is an engineering marvel. Some basalt blocks stretch over a meter in length and weigh several tons. They had to be quarried straight out of volcanic rock, carefully shaped, then hauled up steep slopes using nothing but human strength. The way these stones are arranged shows a clear grasp of geometry. The terraces follow the contours of the mountain, yet also align with celestial events. Researchers discovered that these alignments correspond to the positions of specific stars thousands of years ago. This suggests the builders observed and recorded star movements over many generations, with precision rivaling modern astronomy. Just imagine standing on these slopes at dawn, watching the first rays of sunlight strike a particular stone, marking the solstice or the rise of a star. Their rituals wove earth and sky into a sacred narrative. But as we explore the site's acoustic qualities, the mystery deepens even further. Radar scans and excavations revealed caves that seem deliberately designed to amplify sound in unusual and powerful ways. Voices echoed and resonated inside, creating an almost otherworldly effect. Perhaps these chambers were used for rituals or spiritual rites. Could the builders have understood acoustics well enough to shape these caves to enhance chanting or music, evoking a sense of the divine? If so, it adds yet another layer of sophistication to Gunung Padang. It shows this culture wasn't just skilled at construction, they also harnessed the power of sound to shape their world. The plants surrounding the site tell yet another story, a story of a world that has changed dramatically. Analysis of ancient pollen and plant remains reveals that the region's climate shifted drastically over thousands of years. When the deepest layers of Gunung Padang were built, the area was likely cooler, perhaps covered in denser forests, with plants and trees that no longer exist here today. This means the builders lived in an environment very different from today's tropical paradise. Their creation was a direct response to a world we can hardly reconstruct. Could the terraces themselves be a preserved memory of that lost world, a living monument to a land once lush and fertile, a memorial in stone? Now we step into the realm of speculation, where the shadows of Gunung Padang grow longer and even more intriguing. Some theorists suggest this site is evidence of a lost civilization, one with knowledge and technology far beyond what we attribute to prehistoric humans. The precision of construction, the depth of the caves, the astronomical alignments, all fuel speculation about technology that seems almost supernatural, tools that could cut stone as precisely as lasers, methods of moving massive blocks that didn't rely on simple levers and rollers. Some alternative researchers even suggest they harnessed earth energies or used sound waves to shape stone, a technique hinted at in ancient myths. Others take it a step further, linking Gunung Padang to a legendary lost continent, a mythical Pacific landmass that sank beneath the waves, its survivors spreading their knowledge across Asia and beyond. Though unproven, these ideas ignite the imagination, making us wonder if the truth lies in realms we've yet to explore. The cultural significance of Gunung Padang is profound. If the site is truly as ancient as some claim, then it suggests complex societies didn't just appear in Mesopotamia's valleys. They also emerged in Southeast Asia thousands of years ago. This challenges the old belief that civilization spread from a single cradle. Instead, it shows that human creativity bloomed independently in distant corners of the world. Perhaps the builders of GUNUNG PADANG were connected in spirit to those who built Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Not through direct contact, but through a shared human drive. The urge to create, to build, and to gaze up at the stars. The terraces that still stand today, withering thousands of years, are proof of that enduring drive. They remind us that our ancestors saw possibilities instead of obstacles, despite the limits of their time. Standing on these ancient slopes, with mist swirling around basalt pillars, you can feel the weight of time itself. GUNUNG PADANG isn't just a mountain. It's a message, a challenge to everything we assume about the past. Its terraces and chambers hold stories we've only begun to hear, and secrets we've yet to uncover. Whether it's 4,000 years old or 20,000, whether it rose from one bold vision, or was layered over centuries, it tells the story of a people who refused to be limited by time, a people who broke free of their age's constraints. And as we reflect on their achievements, we're led to yet another mystery, one hidden beneath the waves, where entire cities lie sleeping in silence, submerged when the Ice Age ended and seas rose. Dive deep, and you'll find the silent remains of lost worlds, where the past patiently waits for us to rediscover it. Forgotten glory? Waiting beneath the waves. Now, we turn our eyes to the vast and unpredictable ocean. Beneath the waves, in the cold, dark depths, lie the ruins of a world we've long forgotten. Cities, villages, and sacred places, swallowed by the sea when the Ice Age ended. Imagine standing at the shore, the salty breeze tossing your hair, waves lapping gently at your feet. But those waves guard a secret, an entire landscape where our ancestors once lived and built their world, now lying hundreds of feet below the surface. These aren't just myths. They're real, tangible ruins, streets and temples that are now home to fish and coral. They're stories, preserved in perfect silence. Tonight, we dive into the mystery of these underwater cities. Atlit-Yam in Israel, Dwarka in India, Kavla-Petri in Greece, and Yonaguni in Japan. Each one a silent clue, challenging how we understand the past. So let's dive deep, guided by the echoes of lost civilizations, to explore the traces of worlds consumed by the sea. Picture Earth 15,000 years ago, locked in the final struggle of the Ice Age. Vast glaciers held back oceans of water, keeping sea levels 400 feet lower than today. The coastline stretched far beyond what we see now, revealing plains and valleys where communities once thrived. Rivers now lost beneath the waves once nourished fertile lands. Islands we see today were once towering hills rising above vast landscapes, and our ancestors built their homes along those ancient coasts. Drawn by the ocean's abundance, the fish in the rivers, and the trade routes linking distant peoples. But as the ice began to melt, the sea rose relentlessly, not in one great flood, but slowly, generation after generation. An unstoppable tide swallowing the land. Beaches turned into shallow flats. Valleys became bays. Entire settlements were drowned, forcing people to flee or adapt. By 6,000 years ago, when the melting finally stopped, over 120 meters of coastline had vanished, taking countless chapters of human history with it. Today, less than 5% of the seafloor has been mapped in detail, leaving these silent worlds largely unexplored. their secrets still waiting in the deep. Our first stop is Atlit-Yam, in Israel, a Neolithic village swallowed by the Mediterranean. 9,000 years ago, discovered in the 1980s. This site is a time capsule of early human life, amazingly preserved beneath the waves. In a sunlit underwater world, stone houses still stand intact. Hearths still hold traces of ancient fires. Wooden tools, rare survivors on land, lie scattered among the ruins, alongside stone fragments and bone tools. At the village center, 7 massive stones form a circle, surrounding a freshwater spring bubbling from the seabed. A silent reminder that this community once saw this source of life as sacred because it's so well preserved. Archaeologists can trace how these people lived day to day. They grew wheat and barley, domesticated animals, and fished the Mediterranean's rich waters. They even traded materials from hundreds of kilometers away, which suggests a network connecting ancient Mediterranean coasts was already in place. Picture yourself standing there, villagers gathering around the spring, their voices blending with the sound of waves, living their lives in a world about to be swallowed by the sea. But Atlit-Yam is more than just a snapshot of Neolithic life. It raises questions that reach across time. How could a so-called hunter-gatherer society build such permanent homes with stone houses and complex trade networks? Why arrange great stones around the spring? This design echoes the sacred stone circles at Göbekli Tepe. Could it have been a ritual site? A sanctuary where people tried to understand their place in a changing world? A refuge of meaning? Some believe the rising seas forced these villagers to abandon their homes, leaving behind a monument that still speaks of their resilience and creativity. Others wonder if Atlit-Yam was just one piece of a wider coastal culture, now lost to the waves, its traces scattered beneath the sea. Now, we head to India's west coast, near the modern city of Dwarka, where another underwater mystery awaits. For centuries, local traditions have told of a grand city, said to be the capital of Krishna himself. In ancient Sanskrit texts, it's described as a magnificent metropolis, with palaces, gardens, and bustling ports. For centuries, scholars dismissed these tales as pure myth, poetic exaggerations with no basis in reality. But in recent decades, underwater surveys have found stone structures on the seabed, foundations, walls, and carved blocks that match descriptions in the Mahabharata. Some of these giant sandstone blocks are arranged with striking precision, suggesting careful planning and engineering. Tests on organic material recovered from the site date between 3,000 and over 9,000 years old, suggesting Dwarka was inhabited for millennia before the sea claimed it. Thousands of years ago, imagine diving here in murky waters, your flashlight revealing a long-lost street, stones polished smooth by the currents, but the marks of ancient stonemasons still remain. Could this be the legendary city of Krishna? Or perhaps something even older, the remains of a civilization we haven't even named yet. The mystery of Dwarka becomes even deeper when we look at ancient texts. The Mahabharata describes a city swallowed by the sea. A story like this echoes across flood myths in many different cultures. Could these legends preserve memories of real events? Times when rising seas drowned thriving communities. Some researchers suggest Dwarka was once a hub of ancient seafaring networks. Its ports may have linked India with Mesopotamia and beyond, even as far as the distant coasts of Africa. The precision of the stonework suggests this society had advanced engineering skills, able to build structures that survived underwater for thousands of years. But others have gone even further, suggesting Dwarka could be the remnant of a lost civilization, maybe even connected to the legend of Atlantis itself. While mainstream archaeology remains cautious, the underwater ruins line up intriguingly with ancient writings, forcing us to wonder, could myth and history be far more intertwined than we've ever imagined? Now we head to the Aegean Sea off the southern coast of Greece. Pavlopetri, often called the oldest known underwater city in the world. It dates back around 5,000 years. This Bronze Age settlement lies in shallow water, covering about 30,000 square meters. Its layout is astonishingly well preserved. Divers can still trace its streets, set out in a neat grid, intersecting at right angles. This level of urban planning was once thought to have been invented much later. Houses, courtyards, even complex water management systems all reveal a thriving community built on trade and farming. Unlike land sites, where centuries of human activity disturb the ruins, Pavlopetri is frozen in time. Jars still rest on windowsills. Tools remain on workbenches, as if the people had just stepped away. This preservation gives us a rare glimpse into daily life in the Bronze Age, how they cooked, worked, traded, and lived in a world soon to be reshaped by the sea. Pavlopetri raises questions that challenge our understanding of early city planning. How could a so-called primitive society design such an advanced grid system? Their water systems, including drains and stone cisterns, show an engineering knowledge far beyond what we once expected. Some believe this city was a forerunner of the Mycenaean civilization, hinting that the roots of Bronze Age culture run deeper than we think. Others speculate Pavlopetri was part of a larger coastal network, now scattered across the Mediterranean seabed, each fragment a relic of a forgotten golden age. Our final stop takes us to Yonaguni, Japan, a small island at the southern tip of the Ryukyu chain. Just off its shores lies one of the most debated underwater mysteries ever discovered. In the 1980s, divers found a series of massive stone formations, what looked like man-made platforms, steps, and walls, even pyramid-like shapes. Some began calling it the underwater stone city. The scale is enormous. The largest platform stretches over 150 meters, built from stone blocks weighing several tons. Many of these blocks were cut with striking precision, perfect right angles and sharp corners, as if they were carved with advanced tools. At the heart of the debate lies one question. Most scientists believe the Yonaguni structures are naturally formed. They say it's the work of millions of years. Straight edges and sharp corners, just coincidence. But others argue the patterns are far too precise to be a natural accident. They point to what look like tool marks and layouts resembling ancient ceremonial sites. Dating places the site at roughly 10,000 years old, right when the last ice age ended, and rising seas swallowed it up. Which raises the big question, if it was man-made, who built it? Supporters of the Yonaguni theory claim the structures are the remains of a lost civilization, maybe even part of a legendary mother continent, a culture that once thrived in the Pacific, before the oceans rose and drowned it. They point out the similarities between these structures and ancient sites found on land, hinting at a cultural continuity, one cut off by rising seas. Critics, however, dismiss it all as pseudoscience and overinterpretation of rocks. Yet, the mystery of Yonaguni refuses to fade. Whether natural or man-made, the structures challenge our understanding of coastal erosion and geology. Their sharp lines and corners are rare in naturally formed rock. and their arrangement, including one structure nicknamed the turtle, mirrors mythical symbols found on nearby land. That sparks the question: were early humans active on these islands, long before recorded history? As we surface and head back to shore, these underwater ruins, together, paint a picture of a forgotten world. A coastal civilization that thrived before the ice melted and seas rose. Atlit-Yam, Dwarka, Pavlopetri, and Yonaguni. Each is a clue, pointing to a past more complex and interconnected than we imagined. They raise more questions than answers. Were these communities connected? Did they share knowledge, technologies, or myths? Did they foresee the rising seas? Did they leave warnings about their fate? These silent cities also remind us: history is incomplete. Our understanding of the past is built on what survives: stone, bones, and traces preserved on dry land. But the ruins swallowed by the sea, the stories scattered on the ocean floor, may be the largest missing chapter in human history. Forgotten chapters, waiting to be rediscovered, to be read, and woven into our understanding of where we came from. As we ponder these underwater mysteries tonight, we're led to one overwhelming question: if these are just the few sites we've found, then how many more are still hidden beneath the waves? How many civilizations, stories, and wisdom still sleep in the memory of the sea? Their answers, like the silent cities themselves, still hidden in the depths, waiting for the day we dare to explore.